So this week's poem basically wrote itself because initially I just had a topic in mind, but as I went through the poem, it just changed course altogether and it found its own way. So the words wrote themselves, and that's like something I'm loving about this week's poem. But further, how exactly that is happening and what is the poem, that's what we have got in this week of the Poetry Challenge. Hi everyone, I'm Sanchit Batra and welcome back to the Poetry Challenge, where I write a poem every week and then recite it according to recent trends. So now, you see, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, when I started writing this week's poem, I had inspiration from one of Victor Hugo's poems translation, because he originally wrote it in French and I read the English version. But then I got an inspiration from there for like the first one or two lines, but the rest of the poem didn't click at first. But as I tried to extend the story, like without sort of changing the essence of what it meant, I did not get any ideas about what the entire poem should be about. I only had the first two lines in mind. But then I thought that logically, whatever follows from this, let me write that and the topic will creep in itself. And honestly speaking, the topic that did creep in was wonderful. And to be frank with you, I think I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos. I just finished a book called Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. It has become my absolute S tier book at the moment. And some of the themes from that book have heavily inspired what I have written in this poem. Enough of blabbering. What is the poem about? That's what we're gonna see now. So, sipping on my evening tea, gazing at a humble bug, a bug so small, insignificant, so detached from worldly tug, a bug so free, so careless, it keeps moving on in a spree, with no responsibility whatsoever. It seems to enjoy being carefree. A thought so conjures up one of ignorance and freedom, of just being and roaming in a detached little kingdom. But then, why be human when all responsibility is lost? What becomes the ultimate purpose for one living without a cause? And now it feels that this duty, that feels like a burden, so to say, is truly a pleasure in its own regard, a boon to have a role to play. And I intentionally think that the last line is the one that impacts most. That is the one that like leaves the reader hanging in the actual theme that I want them to be in, which is a boon to have a role to play. Because I personally believe that being humans, our very fundamental responsibility is to bring about a change, is to be conscious of the fact that we matter. We are not like bugs who do not who like on an individual scale do not matter, while on a whole they might, but as humans we matter even as individuals, and to know that fact, to be conscious of it, that enough, I believe, justifies us having a duty to follow in this world. That was the poem for this week. If you like the theme, if you like the topic, if you like the way I if you like the rhetorics or the description I gave in the beginning, do like the video as well. If you want to be notified every time a new video comes out, click the subscribe button below and click the bell icon. And if you're writing your own poems in this year along with me, tag me on any social media platform using the hashtag given in the description. That was me, Sanchit Batra, for this week. See you next week. This is me signing out for now.